Good early afternoon wood design, folks. Happy Friday to you, and apologies for not being here. Uh, However, I think this is going to be a very, very fun day. We have just oodles of projects to complete, that whole rotation 1 through 6, that I want you to kind of switch gears in the project that you're in right now. If you feel like if you're in that first rotation of the fall leaf display, and I want you to think outside the box. You do not have to, once again, put leaves in there. If you are a collector of baseball cards, Hot Wheels, anything and everything that you could think of to put in a frame, and it doesn't have to be the size frame we did. You could go deeper than the frame that we have. So I want you to think, once again, outside the box. Use the internet appropriately, but for resources, as looking for shadow boxes or something to that effect. So if I went to a new tab and I went to Google and I just went to images and I typed in shadow display box, and looking at all the different components, things like metals. Maybe your grandfather, father, have some metals or a flag. I mean, that's a perfect alternative to one of our display frames. Something like here we have some seashells. We have baseball memorabilia. We have little knickknacks, that maybe grandma collects. So all these different types of frames that you can do, and it doesn't necessarily have to be what I have. That video just kind of shows you, how to do the rabbits, how to do the grooves. All you have is something that might be maybe a little deeper, and maybe adding some shelves or something. Not saying you have to, but it's a good mitering lesson. Here you got some minifigs from some Legos. You got some golf balls. Maybe some of you collect baseballs, footballs, whatever. Okay. So these are the types of things that you can do. A couple other things. The American flag. A lot of you are in that rotation and doing a great job. I mean, the stars and stripes are starting to come along. And if you choose to do something, and I mentioned this in class, thin red line, thin blue line, thin green line, thin yellow line, you want to do an alternative to the flag. If you want to do a different country, I've had people do Canada before. Just some amazing things. Everything's going to hover around that same size. It's just a matter of what you would like to do. The clock, there's really not much wiggle room for modification to the project. That's your key project, and you can obviously see if there's never anything to do. Oh my gosh, you can go up to any step and go through and go, oh, look at that, I'm going to be working some Sanders. So it's there's so many different things to do. However, with the clock project, and it's kind of near the end where I do have some alternatives to the dials. So I'm going to go back up here to Google. Hey, I'm going to type in clock dials. Okay, we've all seen clock dials, but some of you might be making this for somebody, and there's a great one out there that, oh, here you go, a glow in the dark one. Maybe you want something like that. The old "Who cares? I'm retired" was a popular one back in the day, and you can see it's just a bunch of falling numbers. Kind of funny. Maybe dad, grandma, grandpa, mom, somebody's retiring. And this would be a great gift. You can do inspirational clock dials. So there was always a popular one that everybody liked. It had kind of a deer scene, big buck, kind of in the background and so on. If you type in some type of clock dial wildlife, okay, so we don't necessarily have to stick with the deer theme. But now you can see there's here we have some buffalo or bison, and you have turkey and a couple other things. Here's a deer. So my point is that if you can find an image, I can help you with creating the dial on our Roland vinyl cutter. So exactly the size that you need, with numbers or without numbers. You can see that there's some in there. You want to put a picture of Mr. Gaines' face on your clock dial, you can do that. Okay. I personally would not want something like that. Here you got a fox, you got some horses, you got some polar bears. So although it wouldn't be using this particular exact dial, but these are just those ideas that you can get from using the internet appropriately and finding alternatives to parts of the project. So if we back up one, and that's just our third rotation, the cutting board. Once again, hey, you don't have to make Wisconsin. You don't have to make a state for that matter. I know there's some ideas in making it like the shape of a fish. Okay, that's a great idea. You could fish shaped cutting board. There you go, right there. You don't have to make the shape of Wisconsin. The idea of the project is to create a profile path with the CNC router. So regardless if it's the shape of Wisconsin, or a fish, or a pig, or a dog, or a cat head, or whatever, okay, buckhead. It's just a matter of, I love the sea turtle, bamboo, look at that. You got a nice racing stripe down it. There's just so many different things that you could do. Okay, it looks like fish cleaning boards hanging up. So some great ideas. Going back to our wood design projects, the wood lathe. I've mentioned this a million times, folks. Between part 1 and part 11, there's such small tidbits of just how to set it up, how to use parts of the tools. And going through, you can, there's just so many out there. And it doesn't have to be epoxy, just anything that you can do on the wood lathe. You just type in wood lathe projects. There you go. You have some ornaments. I know the holidays are over, but hey, what the heck? Think about next year. Knobs, spindles, candle holders. We're not going to light anything in there, but chess pieces. That might take some time. That might take a few BHTs. Some of our morning enrichment rolling pins. Some idea. Vessels, as we call them in the woodworking world. From looking at something like this to something like that, oh my gosh, it's incredible. So some of these, the old mystery ring, how did that work? You ever want to know how to do that? Give me a holler. So there's a lot of different wood lathe projects. It doesn't have to be formed in epoxy. Going back one last time to the laser cut box. Now, some students had already asked about, hey, can we do this? And I already brought up, and unfortunately with this particular computer, we do not have the Corel Draw file, so I can't show you exactly what's on here. However, if we go back to our Google Images and I just type in something like, we'll do the fish. We'll stick with the fish theme. And I type in fish. Of course, there's going to be oodles of different types of fish, photographs, cartoon clip art, things like that. Now, what you want to do, and not a lot of people use this option. They just look at this and they start fishing around and looking at all these different It's like, well, I'm not getting anywhere. There's the closest thing that can be cut out with a laser, and now it's like, well, and you lose interest. The best thing to do when you're looking for an image that can be cut or lasered, go to the tools in images. Go to tools. Go to the size. Go to large. Large is going to help out when it comes to file size. The bigger the better in this case. The color, let's go black and white. Now you'll probably get some photographs still. However, now we're getting more into the realm of what we're looking for in, ooh, I like the fishhook one, in the laser engraving world. Now, if you really want to get crazy, now hopefully your mind is thinking a little bit. Now look across the top and you go clip art, aquarium. Let's just go to clip art. Let's stay within that size, large, color, black and white, and you can start to see the silhouettes that are forming. Silhouettes. Yeah, you can type that in. Black and white, printable, outline, and so on. Okay, there's our silhouette. Now we're really talking. This is something that you would use for not just the laser, but also with the CNC router to be able to cut out your fish pattern if you chose. But these are going to be a lot easier. So you imagine with the colorization that's here, it's going to be the black that's the wood material, and the white's the part that goes bye-bye, gets cut out. So you can really see that there's a lot of options that are really starting to open up for some of these projects. Now, I've already helped people, ask me, hey, how long did, Mandy had it done the next day. So I can help you with those conversions if you'd like to take that alternative. Okay? So those are those 6 projects that I would like you to really just, not necessarily really write down, but I'll tell you the brainstorming, the thinking, like, oh my gosh, we could do this, we could do that. I mean, this is the part that you can really, really start getting excited about what you can do in here. So I'll see you folks in a few days, and enjoy the rest of the class time by looking appropriately on the internet for these types of projects.